Coming up on Duck TV News, we'll take a look at why alcohol-related ejections inside Autzen have been decreasing, how Uber Eats is benefiting the Eugene community, and what curriculum changes are taking place at the School of Journalism and Communication. All that and more coming up on Duck TV News.
Good evening and welcome to Duck TV News. I'm Alejandra Amendola.
And I'm Jasmine McKinley. Let's get started. Property owners in Eugene will now be paying an extra tax. The Eugene School District 4J has been approved for a $320 million bond. Under Oregon's tax law, it only allows for two options: the approval of bonds or the passing of a local measure. The Eugene 4J district has a 5-year plan starting early winter, creating safer transportation for children, renovating old buildings, and improving overcrowding within the 4J district.
The book University of Nike: How Corporate Cash Bought American Higher Education is creating controversy between the UO and Nike company. The author of the book, Joshua Hunt, writes about how Nike has shaped the image of the University of Oregon to Phil Knight's liking. Hunt wants his reader to be able to aware that other public institutions are allowing big corporations to influence their decisions. The wife of the past UO president, Lynn Frohnmeyer, says the book exploits her family's story to push a false narrative. According to HigherED.com, a UO spokeswoman says, in quote, "Given our focus on the university's future, we will not engage in debate over Mr. Hunt's book," end quote.
A new UO program has started to fight food insecurity this year. Ducks Feeding Ducks is a food aid program helping students who need it. If you are eligible, the program transfers $10 to your DuckBucks account. The money can be used for any campus food menu that accepts DuckBucks. Jade Menchaca, the program coordinator for food insecurity, says it's important students have a stable source of food.
Here at the university, the environment is all college students, and so it can be really hard having enough means to provide yourself with food, and also if you don't have food, then you're a lot less likely to graduate and do well in classes and then end up having a career in the future.
Other programs, such as the Student Food Pantry, are still available for students to use. To join the program, students can go online to the EMU website and fill out a request form. For more information, stop by the Student Sustainability Center in the EMU.
Autzen Stadium's new alcohol policy is increasing sales, yet less fans are being ejected for alcohol-related concerns. Jennifer Mendez has more.
Alcohol-related ejections inside the stadium have decreased by almost half in comparison to the 2017 season, according to the UO Police Department. With new extended tailgating hours and a no re-entry policy, UOPD spokesperson Kelly McIver says these numbers are preliminary.
We will say that there's a number of factors that can affect that, including the time of a game, sort of the level of intensity of a game.
While alcohol sales inside Autzen Stadium may have gone up, people being forced to leave because of rowdy conduct has actually gone down.
In the 2017 season, there were 169 total ejections, with 148 related to alcohol. In 2018, of 106 total ejections, 76 have been due to alcohol. Rowdiness may lead to students exhibiting disrespectful behavior. When Oregon played against UCLA, students were throwing lights and tearing foam fingers provided by sponsors. UO student Scout Galash was at the game and says students need to be more respectful.
Yeah, everybody drinks before they go and people do stupid things, but I just wish people would be more respectful about it. And maybe people grow into that.
According to McIver, rowdy fans are something to be expected within a college football crowd. This can lead fans to be influenced by each other's behavior.
Other people that follow along, even if they wouldn't have thought to do that on their own necessarily. So it's something that sometimes comes with having 60,000 people who are really excited all in one place.
Reporting for Duck TV News, I'm Jennifer Mendez.
Thanks, Jennifer. Speaking of Autzen, let's toss it to Brett and Aaron for all things sports.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Duck TV Sports. I'm Brett Taylor.
And I'm Erin McMahon. From another heartbreak on the road to a thrilling finish at Matthew Knight Arena, we'll get you all caught up.
Let's get things started. This coming weekend, the Oregon Ducks will return home to Autzen Stadium as they face off against the Arizona State Sun Devils. This past Saturday, the Ducks fell to 1-3 on the road against Pac-12 opponents as the Utah Utes were able to overcome a late Oregon comeback, winning the game 32-25. The Ducks had a slow start, trailing by 12 points at the half, but with some halftime adjustments, the Ducks were able to storm back, taking the lead from the Utes in the fourth quarter. Nevertheless, the Ducks couldn't hold the lead for long, with backup Utes quarterback Jason Shelley scoring another touchdown for some insurance points, knocking the win out of Oregon. Concussions in football have become an intense topic of conversation, especially following Jake Hanson's targeting call versus UCLA. Lincoln Cazares, a former high school football player, knows a thing or two about concussions. Reporter Haley Tennant has more.
We were just in practice, actually, doing a 50% tackling drill. So we were just going half speed. Everything was calm. And we started on our backs, and we just turned around and went to kind of, make contact with each other. And I slipped, and I actually just fell and hit like the front of my forehead with my helmet on his knee. And instantly I stood up and fell right to my back.
Targeting has quickly become one of the most rare, polarizing, and controversial calls in college football. During the Oregon football game versus UCLA, Oregon center Jake Hanson was penalized for targeting during the third quarter. The NCAA defines targeting as, quote, "No player shall target and make forcible contact against an opponent with the crown or top of his helmet. This foul requires that there will be at least one indicator of targeting," end quote. With the intensity of football multiplying and tackles like targeting, an increasing number of players are being diagnosed with chronic head injuries and concussions.
So a concussion occurs when there's some type of biomechanical force to the head or the neck, and there's this immediate kind of metabolic crisis as the brain chemicals are released and the brain tries to right itself and pump those chemicals out, and that takes energy. So you also get this big energy crisis.
It was here at Autzen Stadium where Hanson's targeting call versus UCLA occurred. While most people associate targeting as a head-to-head collision, it can also be something as simple as a hand or shoulder to the head.
But when it gets down to it, people are still hitting heads, and it's still happening. So I think maybe, quarterbacks are getting concussions less, or wide receivers are getting, paralyzed less. But I don't think that concussions, with new helmets and new this and that, I don't think anything's really changing.
For Duck TV Sports, I'm Haley Tennant.
Thanks, Haley. The UO College of Education has a concussion clinic located in the Hedco building, where they offer initial consultations for assessing cognitive impairments after brain injury.
Next up, the Oregon women's basketball team will take on the University of Buffalo at home on Sunday. The Ducks fared well in Ruthie Hubert's return to her hometown against Alaska Fairbanks this past week, beating the Nanooks 115-36. Sophomore Satu Sabali led the Ducks with 23 points, and Notre Dame transfer Erin Boley made her Oregon debut, scoring 14 points for the team. Additionally, Sabrina Ionescu recorded her 11th career triple-double, breaking her own NCAA record and needing one more to match the men's record of 12. This past Saturday, the Ducks narrowly secured a win against Syracuse with a final score of 75-73. The Ducks were down 6 points with only 2 minutes left, but Ionescu and Sabali countered with back-to-back three-pointers, giving them one final push to secure the win. Ionescu commanded the game, leading the team with 26 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and no turnovers.
The Oregon's men's basketball team will fly over to New York City this week as the Ducks will participate in the 2K Empire Classic, facing off against the Iowa Hawkeyes on Thursday and either Connecticut or Syracuse on Friday. This past week, the Ducks made history for head coach Dana Altman by winning both games against the Portland State Vikings and Eastern Washington Eagles, giving Altman his 212th win, tying him for the second most wins in program history. Against the Vikings, Payne Pritchard and Paul White led the team to victory, scoring 37 out of the 84 points for the Ducks. But in Friday's game against the Eagles, it was five-star recruit Bol Bol who was the star of the show, recording his second double-double of the season with 23 points and 12 rebounds. Bol was slamming the ball down against the Eagles and swatted the ball away with authority every chance he got. If the Ducks can continue this kind of play against top-ranked opponents in the future, they will be a force to be reckoned with in the March Madness tournament.
The Oregon women's volleyball team will start their final homestand this week against the Utah Utes and the Colorado Buffaloes. The Ducks went up against the number 2 ranked Stanford Cardinal last Thursday, but ultimately fell short once again, losing in 4 sets. Middle blocker Ronica Stone led the team with 5 blocks and tied with Lindsay Vanderweide for 11 kills. Senior setter August Rasky continued her dominance on the court and recorded 47 assists, 5 blocks, 3 kills, and 3 digs. On Saturday, the Ducks secured a win against the California Golden Bears, winning 3-0. Lindsay Vanderweide contributed 16 kills, while Brooke Nuneviller commanded the back row with 22 digs. The third set was a close call, but the Ducks managed to seal the win at 26-24. Sheldon High School has had a dominant football program for the past 2 decades, but it hasn't been easy for the team. Reporter Julia Labina has the inside scoop on what sets the Fighting Irish apart from other programs.
We love coming out here on Friday and winning games, but if that's all we were about, or all this program was about, we'd be missing the mark.
Josh Line took over the Sheldon football program just last year, and since then, he has not only continued the dominant tradition the Fighting Irish are known for, but he has also created a respectful culture among players and coaches. Sheldon has not missed the playoffs in 2 decades, but it hasn't been easy. From fall camp to spring ball, they work all year round to make sure they are ready to take on their 6A opponents. Senior quarterback Michael Johnson Jr. appreciates the pressure his coaches implement because to him, it's what makes him a better player and person.
They require the best out of us. They demand excellence, and they're just trying to get us to work hard in the classroom and every aspect of life, pretty much, in the community. And that's just really made everyone, I think, especially me, a better person.
Although Sheldon is known for winning football games, Coach Line strongly believes that it all comes from the strong culture they have. And for the Fighting Irish, it starts with being on time, being tough, and being leaders on and off the field.
We don't think that you can win unless you have a strong culture. And so, a winning culture to me is about being accountable. And so all those things that, a lot of people dismiss or think aren't as important are the things that we focus on.
Focusing on the little things makes all the difference for Sheldon as they cruise through round 2 of playoffs, beating Sherwood on Friday 44-28. Looking forward, Sheldon will face Westland at home in the quarterfinals. Reporting for Duck TV Sports, I'm Julia Labina.
Thanks, Julia. The Fighting Irish will look to continue their playoff run in the quarterfinals against West Lynn this Friday. That's all we have for this week.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all things Oregon sports.
Now back to Alejandra and Jasmine at the news desk.
If you enrolled in the School of Journalism and Communication after the fall of 2018, the following degree changes apply to you. Instead of taking all 3 gateway courses like before, the third will now be substituted with 2 other courses. New SOJC students no longer have to take 2 economic classes, and newly declared SOJC majors now required to have a minor or a minor equivalent. Pat Curtin, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Affairs, says why she thinks the curriculum is beneficial for students.
I think they serve the students well. I think that's really what we're trying to accomplish here, is make sure that students go out with everything they need to just hit the ground running.
For more information, visit Allen Hall Advising or the SOJC website. Now that's a wrap on this week's episode of Duck TV News. Thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Duck TV News. Have a good night, Eugene.